Hey, nice car.
Thanks, man.
Thanks for stopping by Lube It or Lose It. You're all set. Let me just get that dipstick for you, show you the level. You're good to go.
Sounds like a plan.
Okay, we're gonna do an oil change on a 2020 Volkswagen Jetta GLI. This is a pretty easy process. Just wanted to walk you guys through it in case anyone has never done one with an extractor before. This makes it a lot easier. This car has, see the extractor here. This is a Schwaben. It's a 6.5 liter. Depending on what car you're using it on, there's different sizes. But this car uses less than that, about 5.5 liters. So this is plenty to extract it from. So you can use an extractor on any car, but especially if it has a top filter like this car, it makes sense. There's no need to get underneath the car, no need to jack it up, no need to put yourself in danger or deal with the dirtiness of that. So we'll start with taking the engine cover off. Things you're going to need to remove are the dipstick, which is where the extractor is going to go down this tube, and you push it down, we'll show in a minute, down to the bottom of the oil pan until you feel it touch, so you know you're getting everything out. We just drove the car about 20-30 minutes ago. You want the oil to be warm, obviously not scalding you, but warm enough that it's not thick. So you want the viscosity thin so it all comes up. This is the top oil filter on this car, which is really nice. You don't have to go from underneath. So this uses a 32 millimeter drive, socket, excuse me, with a 3/8 drive. Just put it right on the top there. It'll usually be fairly hand loose like that. And then we'll take the cover off. And it's pretty self-contained, but there's going to be a little bit of oil. But when it comes off, let the oil that's in it drain out, as you might have just heard on camera. And it is just hot enough that it's kind of burning my fingers, but it's okay. And then let me kind of catch it to not make a mess. Take your new filter out, have it ready. This is the cover housing. Pop the old one out. Usually use the old box as an easy way to get rid of it. And then right here on the oil filter housing, you'll see a little rubber gasket. You're gonna wanna sneak this off. It's a lot easier when it's not so hot. But let me see if I can get it without using a tool. There we go. And then you get the new one. This one, between my hands and the filter, because it pulled out so much, it's not that bad. But if it's cleaner than this, you just wanna make sure that just grab some oil from inside the housing or wherever's nearby. Give it a good coating so it's lubricated. And then you just slide the new one right back over the top, and then you can usually just kind of work it back down until it's in this groove right here. Okay, that's all set and ready to go. Then you take the new filter and it kind of just, so you're click in, that's it. Bring it back over. Oh, I'd also like to note, if anyone else who's done oil changes on older cars before, traditionally the rule of thumb is you're going to want to fill the oil filter with about half fill with oil. Those are the self-contained like dram units that are on the bottom of the engine. This type of car, you don't need to do that. Obviously, if you fill this with oil and you put it in like this, it's going to pour it out everywhere. This is a top-loaded filter. It doesn't need to be filled with oil. Put it on finger tight until it's snug. All right, that's finger snug. Then take our socket, and this one is rated at about 25 Newton meters or so, but if you don't have a torque wrench, don't worry about it. You just want to go until it's tight. You don't want to over torque it. So it goes like that, and it's bottomed out. That's it. That's all you need to do. Pretty simple. And it's not going to leak. And if it did, you're going to know it's leaking. But that's plenty tight. Okay, so that's all good to go. The next step is you pull the dipstick. Set that aside. And for extra breathing room, I pulled the oil cap too. So when we're using the extractor, it's working off of a vacuum. And although there's an opening here, it's kind of like shotgunning a beer or, something else like that, where you have that open hole on the other side that allows the vacuum to pass through. So good rule of thumb, remove that, open it up, and now we can start using the extractor. And first one clips in right here at the top, then the extension plugs in here. And like I said earlier, you shove this down the dipstick tube. And then right about there, you can feel it's bottoming out. So that's perfect. Now you come over to the pump and you start building pressure. You can see it coming up the tube. And you start to feel the pressure building up inside of the extractor. You can give it a break. And it'll work off of that vacuum for a while. Then every few minutes or so, you come down here. You can see the bottom starting to fill up. Each of these lines is a quart. Actually, because this is German, each of these lines I think is a liter, but it's about half off. A liter and a quart's pretty similar. And then you usually just kind of keep an eye on this. You watch it slowly rise. If it starts to look like it's getting too slow, and obviously not all the oil's out of the engine, give it a couple more pumps and it'll create more vacuum. Yeah, see, that looks good. This is still from the initial pump that I did. It's already up to, like I said, I guess these are liters, almost 4 liters. So we're gonna want probably, depending on how much is in the car, which I think it had the correct amount of oil, it'll probably be about here. If you look here, you can see that this is still all thick, which means it's still getting good suction. Because once it starts to lose the vacuum, you'll get a little bit spitty. You'll see air. Let me see. So see, it's starting to pull some air, which means we're getting to the bottom of the pan. And judging by what I said, it's exactly where it should be. I was saying it should be at least about, if the car has a good amount of oil in it, it should be at least halfway through this one, which is exactly where it's starting to sputter. So I'll give it a little bit more, and then we kind of just do that until the sputtering becomes almost complete, and then the car's empty. We'll call that done. Pull that up. This right here, where this tube comes out to extract, you just remove this, and after you put the oil back in the car, you use the empty oil jugs that you have left over from putting fresh oil in the car. Carefully pour this into the jugs, and then that goes to wherever you dispose them. All right, put the dipstick in. Bits of the inside of the housing completely in the way. So you have to use a smaller funnel that has a smaller tip like this, because that's it. That's all that fits in there. I'm not sure why they did that, but I guess I have to talk to someone at Volkswagen about that, among other things. But it's a good little engine, so I'll let it slide. Oh, I will say here that when refilling the oil, this is a slightly over 5 quarts, which is 5 liters. So 5.28 US quarts, 5 liters everywhere else in the world. Put this whole thing in Then let it settle, check the dipstick. If there's any more needed, that's why I bought that smaller one that's down there. It's just 1 quart. This is generally close enough that I usually leave it and just add a little bit more later. All right, good enough. That's an empty bottle. Like I said, keep this. You don't want to toss this out because the old oil is going to go in this. So you just put the resealable cap back on it for later. And then there's the little original seal that one can go. All right, we'll let that settle for a second, and then in a couple minutes we'll check the dipstick, see where the level's at. This car really grabs it. It's been a couple minutes. I usually like to give it a little bit longer. This oil is so clear, it's hard to see. Another strange thing about the 08. Looks good. I usually give it 1 more. If you want to come over here, I can show you. Don't know if you can see it in this light. Can you see where it's at on the dipstick?
Mm-hmm.
It's just a couple centimeters or at most off of the top line. That's why I usually call it good, and I save the quart later for when there's burn off. These cars burn oil a little bit by nature, just because of the turbo and the way these engines are put together. So that hash of the dipstick is a quart. So if it's below that, you definitely need to add oil, or even half. You can add half, but when it's like here, like it just was, I'm just gonna leave it rather than open up the other quart, because that's pretty much just enough. And then maybe in about 500 to 1,000 miles, depending on driving conditions, you can check the level, make sure it's still good, or even tomorrow after you drive it a little bit. Put the oil cap back on. Voila, that's it. Oil change is done. Filter, dipstick's back in, cap's back on, oil's in the car. That's it. Always double check everything. Don't want to drive off with an oil cap off or no oil in the car. That's all. All right, that's your level. Looking good, nice and clean. Some clean oil.
That's some very clean
You
oil.
agree? All right, we'll get you out of here, buddy. Take care.
Great. Thank you. Got some clean oil.
All right, buddy. We're gonna need you to stay around here. That's the level you want to be at. So when you check your oil, exactly. All right.
Okay.
Keep an eye on it. We'll see you again soon.
All right. Much appreciated. Thank you.
Thanks for stopping by.
Yeah, I'm gonna write a really good review. Oh.
All right, right here, this is the paper towels that we use to check your oil. It's got a good ply, nice and strong, good absorption. You're going to want to use these when you check your oil, all right?
All right.
All right, buddy.
Will do. Appreciate it. Let's go. All right.
All right.
Oh.
See here, this is a 2008 vintage Osiris.
Yeah.
Does that look good to you?
That looks like a great vintage for sure.
All right. Well, we'll keep it right there, and we'll see you again soon, all right?
All
Take
right.
care of yourself.
Thanks, man. Appreciate it. You have a good one.
You too. Well, I'm not really doing anything yet.
Just in case.
Watch me, but I'm just cleaning this fine.
It's going to be an outtake.
Yeah. You like watch me clean my funnel? Just finger it in here a little bit. I should probably be careful. It's probably dripping on the car. It's alright, we'll use that to clean.